What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my youtube.com channel. Thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe. And if you do, then we can both win. It's a win-win situation. We're bartering. This is how bartering works, okay? This is literally how the economy works, okay, kids? I was an econ major, okay? If you like and subscribe, then, alright? Think about it. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about new Pokemon Hatterene, new Pokemon Sword and Shield, new Pokemon Hatterene. You see, Pokemon is very clever. Some people think that Pokemon's designs are old and outdated and they're not any good. Here, let me explain to you. This is the one example you need to know to understand why Pokemon is still very creative and coming up with really cool designs. This Pokemon, its name is Hatterene. You might notice something in here. First of all, Terra, meaning Earth. This Pokemon is ground type. Second of all, E, electric. This Pokemon is electric type. Third, hat. This is very subtle. You might not notice it. However, if you look very closely, very closely at this Pokemon, you can see that it is wearing a hat. So don't ever criticize Pokemon ever again, okay? Anyway, frankly, this is going to be one of the best Pokemon in my opinion. It's not being used a ton right now, but I think it's going to be really good. Hatterene is a new Pokemon introduced in Sword and Shield. It's Psychic Fairy type. It's always female. It has a couple things that are really good going. There are a couple really good things going for it. Sorry. Full disclosure, this is like my 6th video I've recorded today because I'm going out of town this weekend, so I'm trying to get ahead. And I've just kind of been, my throat hurts. I've been recording nonstop. Like I'm really trying to do. I feel like it's one thing to do daily uploads if you're going out of town, but when I'm doing 2 a day, I'm struggling, honestly. So if I'm a little bit of a mess, that's why. Anyway, let's talk about it. Psychic Fairy, very good typing. Abilities, Healer is cool, not great. Magic Bounce is a very good ability. Basically, Hatterene, I'll just spoil it for you. Hatterene is a Trick Room Pokemon. It's one of the best new Trick Room setters that were introduced this generation, and Magic Bounce reflects status moves, including Taunt and like Sleep Powder and Roar and Whirlwind, a lot of things that are normally used to stop Trick Room setters. So let's take a look at its stats. Very low base HP, decent defense, very good special attack. Actually, defense isn't terrible. Good special defense, and then bad speed. But bad speed is good speed when we're dealing with Trick Room. In terms of typing, it's weak to Ghost, Poison, and Steel, I believe, and I think that's it. It's not. Let's see, Steel, Ghost, Poison. That's it. So only 3 weaknesses. Poison's not that common at the moment, and Ghost isn't that common. I mean, like every Pokemon type is used, but it's not that common. So it's not the end of the world for those weaknesses. So overall, pretty good defensive typing. Offensively, it has very good typing as well. The way that people are currently using Hatterene is they're pairing it with Indeedee to set Psychic Terrain. They're using Follow Me to redirect attacks away from Hatterene while it sets Trick Room, and then from there, they're winning. It's just a fact, okay? They're setting Trick Room and they're using it as like their main Trick Room setter. So let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at Hatterene. Let's go through it. So its attack set isn't bad, but we're not going to be using it. It gets Life Dew for a recovery move. This heals 25% of Hatterene and its partner. Probably not using that. Heal Pulse does 50% to a partner. Dazzling Gleam is its best Fairy type offensive attack from the special side, and it gets Psychic. It also gets a signature move called Magic Powder, which changes the target. It's Soak but Psychic type, so it changes the target into a Psychic type Pokemon, which is very cool. In terms of other moves, it gets some good support moves. Thunder Wave, Light Screen, Safeguard probably not needed. Giga Drain, Helping Hand is really good. Imprison is cool. Power Swap and Guard Swap are cool. Trick Room, Wonder Room, Magic Room are all cool. Mystical Fire is a good coverage move. Brutal Swing could be used on some weakness policy Pokemon potentially, like use it to activate your own weakness policy on like a Pokemon that's weak to it. And then for TMs, or TRs I should say, we already talked about Psychic. Shadow Ball, Baton Pass is cool. Skill Swap could be good in some instances, probably not this year though. Dazzling Gleam like we mentioned, and then that's pretty much it. It gets After You as well. So how are we going to use Hatterene? That's the first question. This is a set, let's see, yeah. So this is the first set here. Basically, most Hatterene sets are going to look something like this, in my opinion. Life Orb is optional. People started running Duraludon, so now you can run Babiri better. Please, Wolf, please. It's just this once. Now you can run Babiri Berry, as well if you want. It's an offensive Trick Room setter with dual stab. So, Hatterene, basically, it's here to set Trick Room, and then it's here, like I mentioned, it takes advantage of Indeedee because it's the Psychic Terrain is really good, and boosting Hatterene's already good very good special attack stat, and powering it up with the Psychic Terrain and Stab boost makes it very powerful. This set's pretty straightforward. You're trying to use it just to set Trick Room, and you want to stick around after then. Some Trick Room setters prefer to go down after they get Trick Room up. Hatterene is a little different. I think you could also use it without Indeedee. Indeedee is just a very easy partner right now because basically Fake Out has been really weakened this year, and so you don't really, like, in the past we'd use Fake Out primarily to set Trick Room because it was better, in my opinion, to set Trick Room using a Fake Out partner, but it's a little different this year, so Follow Me is the way that people are currently doing it with Indeedee. I'm sure there will be other methods found as well. So this set, you have Dual Stabs, you have Protect, that's important, and then Trick Room, because that's the main focus. I don't know that much what to say about it, it's pretty straightforward. Frankly, most Hatterene you see are going to have these 4 moves. You can run other moves as well, but like, this is the main set for this Pokemon, so I wouldn't deviate too much from it. I've used, or not that I wouldn't deviate, but if you see a Hatterene, it's not like a Pokemon like where you can expect a ton of sets. Like, there's not that much variability in my opinion. The main question is the item. Is it Life Orb? Is it Babbery Berry? Is it a Healing Berry? Next up, and actually I think I thought more about this. I think it should be Babbery Berry. This is a set you can use if you want to have a defensive Trick Room setter, and you need more bulk on Hatterene, but you still want it to be useful. The idea is you pair it with a powerful Dark or Ghost type or Bug type Pokemon in your Trick Room. So for example, Scrafty. You set Trick Room up, and then you Magic Powder to turn things into Psychic types, and use a Dark, Ghost, or Bug type move to KO them from there. So if your opponent has Excadrill and they think they're safe, you could Magic Powder and then, like, well, that's a bad example, but like, let's say who's somebody like, I'm trying to think, like, who's a Pokemon that's like I literally can't think of anything. I don't know. Something that Scrafty can't normally, Hatterene and Scrafty can't normally deal with, like Steel Ghost Pokemon, like Aegislash. That's not really, doesn't really work either, right? You know what I'm saying? There's some Pokemon that you can, that like, you want super effective damage on, and you want to have bulk on your Hatterene, so you don't want to run offensive investment, or use it with a Ghost or a Bug type, right? And you can get, this is really cheesy, you can get some KOs that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. Using this, again, this is mainly intended to double up, but Magic Powder is a good move because it overwrites typing and changes the typing to Psychic type, and then from there you can, like, you take away their bonus for being the same type, so it's a cool move. I don't know if this is the best way to use it, but this is the way that I came up with. I really like Magic Powder as a move. I think it's really interesting, and this allows Hatterene to play like more of a supporting disruptive role. You could also use other moves here. You could use Helping Hand, you could use Heal Pulse, you could use couple other moves I saw that were also interesting. You could run Dazzling Gleam, but just have it be bulkier, but yeah, that's one way you could do it. But yeah, I think the move is super cool. Magic Powder is super cool, so I'd love to see it get some usage. I don't think it's going to be amazing or anything, but it is cool. Next up, this is a Spec Set. A lot of people seeing Hatterene will expect get it, to be Trick Room, so this is something you could do if you want to throw them off. Just like, they're trying to counter Trick Room turn 1, and instead you just blast them with a huge Psychic, Dazzling Gleam, you know, something just like really throw them off, like that. I don't think this is the best set necessarily, but it has some usage. I would think. It depends also on the metagame and how fast the metagame becomes, because like, in theory you could put EVs in speed if you had this on a Tailwind team, right, and throw people off with Tailwind and do stuff that way, but yeah, overall, this is just like a kind of a cheesy set if you want to, you know, throw people off. Expectation management and expectations and information in Pokemon are all really big. This is a set if you wanted to like mess with your friends, or you had an important match and you wanted to like throw them off. Very good set for that. In general, I don't know how great it is, but I think for like a one-trick pony, it can be good. Not something I'd want to bring to the tournament. This is the last set I came up with, and then I'll talk about Gigantamax. My throat actually really hurts. I should be concerned. Let's say you have a weakness to Trick Room. Let's say you can't beat Trick Room and you're really worried about it. The single best way to stop Trick Room teams, the absolute best way to stop them, in my opinion, is Imprison. I played Trick Room my entire first season. Regionals, Nationals, and Worlds, I brought pretty much the same Trick Room team, and the thing that was the hardest for me, there were 2 problems. Amoonguss and Chandelure with Imprison. And Chandelure in general was hard because I had 2 Ghost Weak setters, but Imprison with Trick Room is really hard to stop, frankly. If you're a Trick Room team and you want to go for your Trick Room mode, nobody really uses it anymore. Nobody really talks about it. I think it got some usage at 2016 Nationals on Bronzong, but for the most part, people don't run it. The way that Imprison works is if my Hatterene uses Imprison, all of my opponent's Pokemon, for the duration of as long as Hatterene is on the field and doesn't switch out, cannot use Protect, Trick Room, Imprison, or Psychic. Imprison says while this effect is on the user, which is until it switches out or faints, opposing Pokemon can't use the moves that this Pokemon learns. So you lock Protect, meaning your opponents can't protect themselves, Trick Room, Psychic, and Imprison. So this is a set that I would consider running if I had, like, if I really needed one Pokemon that I felt could be really good against Trick Room, and if I had or if I had a team that was weak to Psychic, or like a very offensive team could make use of this. and really throw people off with Imprison, because Imprison's a sick move and people don't use it, but it's very cool in my opinion. So yeah, that's Imprison. The last thing I want to talk about before we move on is Gigantamax Hatterene, and this is why I think Hatterene is going to be one of the best Pokemon in the format. So it becomes this weird thing. I don't know how to describe it to you. I don't know what it is. Basically, Hatterene gets this move called G-Max Smite, a fairy type attack that Gigantamax Hatterene uses. This move confuses opponents. So the way that this move works is, well, exactly what I just said. Basically, the reason why I think this is so good is Confusion is, first of all, busted, number one. And second of all, normally if you use a fairy type moves in your Gigantamax or in your Dynamax form, you change the terrain to Misty Terrain. So for a Pokemon like Hatterene, that's really bad, because you actually, most of the teams at the moment are using Psychic Terrain, so we don't really want Misty Terrain. So having a move that confuses opponents, and it looks like some information has come out that some of these secondary effects aren't 100%. I'll report more as I know more, but there's a chance that it doesn't always confuse opponents, but even still, the chance to confuse is huge, and even if it's a chance and not 100%, not setting Fairy Terrain, Misty Terrain, is a big deal for a Pokemon like Hatterene, because then it doesn't weaken you for the next turn or for the future, and it doesn't allow priority to come into play, because teams that normally use Psychic Terrain are really built around Psychic Terrain. So yeah, I think it's going to be very good. I think this Pokemon has a chance to be one of the best Pokemon in the format for dedicated Trick Room teams. So I think that's all I want to say. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this interesting. Let me know down below which Pokemon you'd like me to cover next, because I haven't decided yet. So yeah, I'm just kind of going through the motions, figuring it out myself. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you later for the next video. Goodbye, and thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing, and this is GIGANTAMAX. Goodbye.